All right, good morning, boys and girls. It's Tuesday. It actually doesn't matter that it's Tuesday because you can watch this video anytime you want. This is Module 6, Problem Set 11, Lesson 11. I'm up really close and I know I'm cutting off part of my head, but it's because I am going to be using the book for the first page of the problem set, and then the second page of the problem set, I'll probably do it on the whiteboard. But it'll be a lot easier for me to do it on the book because my whiteboard is just not big enough to show the whole number line, and that's what we're working with. So our objective today is compare and order mixed numbers in various forms. So this is what your problem set looks like, right? And we have a number line here. So if I look at my directions, say to plot the following points on the number line, you're not really learning anything new with this, boys and girls. We have done all of this, but it's a good practice to show the number line, to see it on the number line, and to convert those fractions to decimals. So let's look at the, I want to actually look at the number line first. We have 1/10 and then 2/10. So in between here are going to be your hundredths. If we were to take an area model, so an area model is basically that square, right? And we cut it into tenths, and if we shade it in 1/10, that would be 1/10. It's also 10 hundredths. So if we took that 1/10 and we split it into 10 parts, this is basically what it is. So this is 0.11. because it's 1/10 and 1/100th. So this is 0.12, 1/10, 2/100ths. Okay, so if you want to, it's really hard to do this because it's so small. 0.16, 0.17, 0.18, and 0.19. It looks like just a jumble of numbers, so it doesn't look very good, but sometimes it's good to do that, you know. All right, so then we look back at our numbers up here. The first one says 2/10. That's the easy one, right? Because it's already in decimal form. All we have to do is find, well, where's my 2/10? Of course, they start with an easy one for us. So you put a little circle, and at the top, 0.2. So we can mark it, see what I did there. Okay, the next one, if we read that fraction, it says 1/10. Now, there's not a whole lot of room, but either, you know me, I always write the number up there. That fraction needs to be changed to a decimal, so I'm going to write right above it 0.1 because that means 1/10. Now, anyone in my class knows that I always do stuff like that, right? Right. Okay, so we can plot that 0.1. Oh, 1/10. That's way over here, right? Right there. And I label it at the top, even though it's already labeled. You should still do it. So 0.1. All right, the next one is 0.33. So that means 3/10 and 3/100ths. So I'm going to get really close. I'm going to move my marker. So I'm going to go over 3/10. Here's 3/10, and now you have to go over 3/100ths. 1, 2, 3. So that's 0.33. See, this isn't that bad. This number, 12/100ths. So we know that 12/100ths is written like this, 0.12, 0.11. So that means 1/10 and 2/100ths. So here's our 1/10, and go over for your 2/100ths. 0.12. Then we have 0.21. That means 2/10 and then 1/100th. So this one is 0.21. That doesn't look good, but oh well. And then we have 32/100ths. So that's 0.32 So we go over 3/10 and 2/100. Oops. 0.32. Of course, they're really close together. Okay? And that's all we have to do. We don't actually have to compare those fractions right now. We could. No, and the numbers on the back are different. So, all right, let's do the same over here. So you can start by writing the numbers. This is 3 6/10. So this part would be 3 6/10 and 1/100. 3 6/10 and 2/100. 3 6/10 and 3/100. Or like me, we're just going to get started on this because we do not have enough room to write all that down there. We don't. I cannot write small enough to do that. So let's start with our decimal here, 3 62/100. So 3.6, right? We're going to start with 3.6, 3 6/10, 3 6/10, and 2/100. So here's our, fix that up, 3 6/10 and 2/100. So 3 62/100. Okay. Next one is 3.7. So 3 7/10. That's an easy one. Right here we have 3 7/10. Can you see that? Not very well. Sorry. Okay. Next one we have 3 85/100. So that means 3.85. So we go to 3.8, and now we need 5/100 after this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 85/100. Okay, now we have 38/10. Oh, man. But it's easy. All we have to do is change that to a mixed number. Okay, so 10 goes into 38. How many times? 3 times. 3 times 10 is 30. We have a remainder of 8, so that's 8/10. So 3 8/10 looks like this. 3 8/10. See the work I did? We got that. So 3.8. So that's 38/10, but I'm writing 3.8. And then we have 364/100. Okay, divide it again. I'm just using this space because why not? 364. Some of you don't need to write this. Some of you know 100 goes into 300 3 times. That would be 300. I would have 64 remaining, so that's 64/100. How do I write that? I write it 3 whole and 64/100. Okay, so now I go find my 3 6/10, and now I need 4/100. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3.64. Okay. I know it looks really complicated, but we know how to do each part. Okay, I know you can't even see me here. It's just, hi. All right. Next, 3. See if I can hold it up enough. 6, excuse me, and 3/10. So that is 6.3. So let's find 6.3 right here. 6.3. 6 31/100. So we go to the tenths part first. 6 3/10, and then 1/100. So that's 6.31. 628/100. Okay, how many times can 100 go into 600, excuse me. 100 goes into 600 6 times. And then, so we put it over here, 628, 6 times, so we have 600. We're left with 28, so it's 28/100. Now we make that a decimal. It's 6.28. So here's 6 2/10, and then we go 8/100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6.28. Now we have 62/10. So again, 10 goes into 62. 6 times, we have a remainder of 2/10. So that is 6 and 2/10, 6.2. So that guy's right on over here, 6.2. I should have done this in a pen, I'm sorry. 6.43, okay, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, and then go over 3 for the hundredths. 1, 2, 3. 6.43. They gave us easy ones to end with. 6.4. So we go to 6.4, so 6 and 4/10, and we go over 0 times for the hundredths. Oh, that's right. 40 hundredths is the same as 4/10. So 6.40. Do you have to put the 0 on? No, you don't. You really don't. Okay, now I'm going to back up a little. Now we're going to work on the back. So we don't have to plot the back on, oh wait, do we? No. All of a sudden I saw the line, I'm like, wait a minute. We don't have to plot these, we have to order these. They want us to change it, change all the fractions to decimal form, and then use the symbol in between, greatest to least, so biggest to smallest. Of course, the first thing we're going to do is put all of those fractions in decimal form, all right? So the first one, and I'll show you where I'm writing it, but I'm gonna write it off to the right side, not on the line yet. I'm gonna write all the numbers off to the right side, so then I can order them. You can also do a place value chart. I'm gonna show you a place value chart on this. So the first one is 27/10. Okay, let's change this to decimal. So 10 goes into 27 how many times? 2 times. And then what's left over? So a lot of you need to see that. That's fine. 27. 2 times 20. 7/10 are left over. So that means 2.7. So the first one is actually 2.7. So put this down for a second. Oh, actually, I should just make a chart on that right now. I'll do ones, I'll show you, tenths, hundredths. Yeah, let's do that. That'll make our lives easier. So the first number is 2.7. So look what I did. I don't care that I cut off some of that space, it's fine. So I have to convert each of those fractions to decimal. So I converted the first one, and you know what? I'm gonna put it right in my chart. Okay, now the next one is 2.07. So since that's already a decimal, let's put it right in our chart, 2.07. That has 7 hundredths and no tenths. See that? Okay, now it doesn't matter what order your chart goes in because we have to do least, or greatest to least, excuse me. Anyway, all right, 27 hundredths. So 27 hundredths, oops, 27 hundredths means 0.27, 27 hundredths. So grab your chart again, and we're putting 0.27. Okay. Then, oh, I just got Expo marker on my blanket. Whoopsies. I should be a little more careful. 2 and 71 hundredths. I don't know why I'm writing this way. That was weird. Okay. 2 and 71 hundredths. That's 2 and 71 hundredths. Careful with that marker. Now put it in your chart. 2 and 71 hundredths. I need to make my lines longer. I'm not going to be able to do the chart on here. Oh well. 227 hundredths. 227 hundredths. Put 100 into 227. 100 goes in it twice. 200. I subtract, I get 27 hundredths, which means 2 and 27 hundredths. So 2 and 27 hundredths, just like that. And then we can put the last one in 2 and 72 hundredths. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put that chart on the whiteboard so we can see the order. So again, order from greatest to least. So you want the biggest one and then the smallest. Or, well, the biggest one, tenths, sorry, hundredths. I'll put these in order. My lines are not straight. I think I do straighter lines when I work upside down. We have 2.7, 2.07, 0.27, 2.71, 2.27, and 2.72. All right, so let's look for the biggest one. So we start on our ones. Biggest one. Well, they're all, most of them are 2s. Sorry, hopefully that didn't have an issue. I think my internet is having an issue right now. All right, so my ones, I don't have one bigger than the next. So we go to the tenths. All right, so let's look at the tenths. I have, this one is a 7. I'm looking for the biggest ones, this one and this one. Okay, so now we've narrowed it down to 3. So we go to the next spot. Well, this is a 0. Let's put it as a 0 right now. This is a 1, this is a 2. Which one is bigger? The 2 is bigger. So this is our biggest one. I'm just putting a 1 here. I'm gonna basically put these in order and then I'll transfer them onto my paper. So I would honestly, I'd have a scrap piece of paper for this one so you can do your chart just like I am. All right, so that one's the biggest one, then this is the next biggest, and then this one. Okay, this is the biggest because it has 7 tenths and 2 hundredths. This has 7 tenths and 100. This is 7 tenths and 0 hundredths. So I don't cross them out, but I'm doing it lightly. All right, so now we go back to the tenths because these are the same except for that guy. That guy's probably our smallest then. Tenths, we have 2 tenths and 2 tenths here. And we have 0 tenths, so we want to compare these two. So go to the hundredths. Oh, you're the same. I hope it was meant to be that way. Because they are the same. The third one, the fourth one, 2 and 71. Oh no, 2 and 71 hundredths. Which ones am I looking at that are the same? Oh no, that one's a 0. That's what happens when you look at it upside down. This one we can't even look at right now because it doesn't have 2 1s. So it's this guy, it's not the same. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I was looking at just this is 27 hundredths, but I forgot that this was 2 and this was 0. Silly me. All right, so now we did this guy. We have these 2 left, right? So this has 0, and well, this is obviously bigger when we're looking at our ones again, right? So 5 and then 6. So in my book, I'm gonna write down the numbers, and it does tell us to use decimal form. So our first one was 2.72 is greater than 2.71 is greater than 2.7 is greater than 2.27 is greater than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2.07, and 6 is greater than 0.27. Okay, so, I mean, I know it's kind of hard to read, but see how I put the greater than symbols in between? That's what they wanted you to do. Sorry, I had strawberries before. Okay, so same work for the next one. We can put it in a chart. I think I'm going to have to do the chart right on here. I'm going to use the board and the packet at the same time. So the first one is, let me get my, oh, we have tens. So I need tens, ones, my decimal, tenths, and then hundredths. Okay. Okay. So the first one, 12 and 3/10, that's actually an easy one to convert for us, right? I should have two whiteboards right now. That'd be great. So it'd be 12.3 because that's 12 and 3/10, right? So on my chart, you won't be able to see it. 12 and 3/10. So I have 12 and 3/10. Okay, and then I have 13.2. Thank you for giving us an easy one. So we have 13.2. The next one is 134 hundredths. So how many times does 100 go into 134? It's one time. I'll show you two. And how many are left over? 34 are left over. So it's 34 hundredths. 34 hundredths, or 1 and 34 hundredths is 1.34. 1.34. 1. So no tens on that one. 1.34. I'm going to put a 0 in my tens. Then we have 13.02. 13.02. And then we have 12 and 20 hundredths. Oh, they actually gave us easy ones. 12 and 20 hundredths would be 0.20. I'm impressed. Now, you see this chart? Yeah, you can see it all. There are spaces here. You could leave it like that if you want, or you can actually just fill it with zeros. It might make you, it just might, I don't know, people like even columns and stuff like that. I also have a 0 here. All right, so let's order these guys, shall we? All right, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now we're still doing greatest to least. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is obviously the smallest, isn't it? We can say that this is our 5th one already. I know, I just went backwards. I understand it's not really necessarily what you want to do, but I know that that's going to be the smallest because there are 0 tens, not ones, excuse me, tens. There are 0 tens. So this is going to be my smallest because all the other ones have tens. All right, so tens, now we have these 4. Let's go to the ones. 2, 3, 3, 2. Well, let's look at the 3s because the 3s are bigger. Okay, this one has 2 tenths, this one has 0 tenths. Automatically, this one's big. Well, not bigger, but the biggest. Okay, now we go to the other one. This would be 2. We only have to compare 2 more. Same tens, same ones. Oh, look at our tenths. This one's bigger. 3 and then 4. Look at that. That went even quicker than the first one. So now we write it in our book. The biggest one was 13.20 is greater than 13.02 is greater than third one, 12.3 or 30, doesn't matter, is greater than 12.20 or 2 for that matter, and 1.34. So there's my order. If I'm going too fast, you just pause it and you can copy it if you need to. Okay, last one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I skip one? If I skipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, the last one had, okay. The last one only had 5. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to try to just use my same chart. All right, 7 and 34 hundredths. That's 7.34. We know that. That's an easy one. 7.34. So I actually don't need my tens column for that, do I? Nope. I don't need my tens column. 7.34, put it on your chart. I know this lesson's longer and we're not actually learning anything new right now, but it's worth doing. It's a good review. 7.34. Okay, 7 and 4 tenths, that's 7.4. So 7.4. Now in the hundredths column, I'm putting a 0 just so it makes me feel better. It looks better to me. 7 and 3 tenths, easy one. 7.30. 750 hundredths, so divide it. 100 goes into 700 how many times? 750. 7 times, that's actually our whole number. How many are left over? 50 hundredths are left over, so that's 7.50. Or you could say 7.5 because it's 50 hundredths is the same as 5 tenths. Now we have the number 75, like literally 75. I do need my tens column. Of course I do need my tens column. 75 is the whole number 75. And then 7.2. All right, so be careful with your 75. Now, if you'll notice the 7.2, I put a 0 here too. It just makes me, yes, you could go back and put all zeros here if you want, but yeah. All right, clearly the biggest is our 75, right? All right, now we don't have to look at those ones. Okay, next one. Ones, they all have 7. So we go to the tenths. Which one is the biggest tenth? Looks like this is the biggest tenth. We have 3, 4, 3, 5, and 2. So this is the second one. And we cross it off. Not like scribble it out because you need to be able to copy it. But so 1, 2. So now let's go back and look at our tenths. 3, 4, 3, 2. We want the 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3, 3, 2. So we look at our 3s, right? So 3 tenths, so we go to the hundredths. 4 hundredths is bigger. And then this one is 5. And this guy is our smallest, 6. So let's put it in our book. We have 75 is greater than 7.5 is greater than 7.4 is greater than 7.34 is greater than 7.3 is greater than 7.2. This is a long lesson today, boys and girls. In the long jump event, Rhonda jumped 1.64 meters. Mary jumped 1 6/10 meters. Right now, boys and girls, I'm putting 1.6 right above that fraction because I see the other one is in decimals, and decimals is easier to compare. Carrie jumped 94 hundredths of a meter. So right above it, I'm putting 0.94. Michelle jumped 1.06 meters. Who jumped the farthest? Okay, so what you should do, set up your ones, tenths, and hundredths place value chart. You should also circle all those numbers, underline the important information, put a box around the question. So, out of those numbers, which one is the biggest? Okay. So the biggest one on there, and you set up a whole chart, and you can see in the end, you'll find that it was Rhonda. So I want an answer statement there. because Rhonda's is the furthest. It was in between Rhonda and Mary. Mary was 1.6, Rhonda was 1.64, so that 4/100ths is larger. All right, in December, 2 3/10 feet of snow fell. Okay, so that means 2.3, because 2 3/10 is 2.3. In January, 2.14 feet of snow fell. I just circled that number, I hope you did. In February, 2 1900ths, that's 2.19, that's 1900ths feet of snow fell. And in March, 1 1/10, that means 1.1. During which month did it snow the most? During which month did it snow the least? All right, so which one is the biggest number? Again, put it in your place value chart and see which one's bigger. Which one is the biggest? 3 of them have the whole number of 2. And one of them has a whole number of 1. Automatically, we know the least. Because if there's only one that's a whole number of 1 and the other ones are bigger than that, that is the least. So the least fell in March. Okay, so March was the least. So let's find the biggest. So we have 2.3, 2.14, and 2.19. So go to your tenths position. I have 3/10, I have 1/10, and I have it's 2.3. So that means December with their 2.3 was the most. Don't forget your answer statement. All right, boys and girls, I know that was kind of long, but thanks for sticking with me. See you tomorrow.